Well, I want to begin by expressing my appreciation. Am I on? Okay, expressing my appreciation for you all being here tonight. It says something about how seriously you are taking your own Christian walk that you would spend a Monday evening this way. I hadn't planned to try to refute directly anything Craig had said in my rebuttal, but he so seriously misquoted me and misrepresented me in his closing statement that I need to correct it. He says that I say the post-Easter Jesus is the product of Christian imagination. I have never said that. He quoted me correctly earlier in the evening. The post-Easter Jesus is the Jesus of Christian experience. I think people experience Jesus to this day, and the product of the developing Christian tradition. That's very different from saying that Jesus, or the post-Easter Jesus, is the product of Christian imagination. One other quick comment, and then I want to end on a different note. I just want to add something because of what Darrell Bach said about Jesus is Lord and the meaning of that. I emphasized Jesus is Lord means the domination system is not, because I was taking for granted that you all already knew and affirmed the religious meaning of saying Jesus is Lord. That the risen Christ is quite properly the object of Christian prayer and worship, and I participate in that worship certainly every week, and oftentimes many times a week. So I was taking that part for granted. I was assuming it was the political meaning of Jesus as Lord that might be less familiar to you. Now to the heart of what I want to say in my closing statement. And I want to take the risk of quoting something to you from a novel. It's from P.D. James' most recent novel, Death in Holy Orders. P.D. James, an English detective novelist. And one of the subplots in that novel, which is set in a monastery, is that in the monastery there is an ancient papyrus which allegedly is a letter from Pilate ordering the removal of Jesus' body from the tomb. And one of the issues is that letter genuine? And the detective, the main character, asks one of the oldest monks there if it would matter to him if that letter were genuine and that the reason the tomb was empty was because Pilate had the body removed. I'll start quoting now. Father Martin smiled. He said, "My son, for one who every hour of his life has the assurance of the living presence of Christ, why should I worry about what happened to his earthly bones?" End of quote. It's basically what I'm trying to suggest to you tonight. I think to argue that the Christian faith depends upon the historicity of the empty tomb is an enormous distraction. And I think it risks turning Christian faith into believing in the past happenedness of a spectacular event, rather than Christian faith being about a relationship with the living Christ in the present. That's what matters. Last comment. I was in a dialogue with another conservative scholar about the resurrection of Jesus a couple years ago, and he climaxed his argument, quite similar to Bill Craig's, by saying, and in addition to all that, the reason that I know for sure that Jesus has been raised from the dead is that I walk with Jesus every day. And I said to him in my response, let me begin by saying I accept absolutely the truth of your statement that you walk with Jesus every day. But I don't for a moment imagine that if I followed you around with a camera, there would be a time when I could get a photograph of the two of you. And then I concluded by saying, I think your statement is really true, but I don't for a moment think it is literally true. Thank you very much.